What's next for Ben Whittaker, mate?
Interesting. I know he signed a new deal with Ben Shalom, who's done a deal with the BBC.
Yeah.
So boxing, we get back on terrestrial TV, which is, good.
He's done a new deal with Ben Shalom.
Yeah, I believe
he's staying with Boxer.
I believe he stayed with Boxer. I think that's the move forward. That's the rumor that they've done a deal, and yeah, he gets primetime TV.
Do you think that's the right move for him, given the stage of where he's at right now?
Well,
because there's plenty of options.
There's loads of options.
He's a hot talent.
You got to remember Ben Shalom. He's sort of like, after he lost his Sky deal, you're looking at it going, where's he going? What's he doing? He's come back with this new deal with the BBC, which is great for boxing fans. BBC Two, BBC One, Match of the Day before that. So the audience is going to be very big. BBC iPlayer as well. He's just signed a new deal with Riyadh Season, Ben Shalom. So look, he's still very much in the mix. But you look at it and you look at the light heavyweights that Frank Warren's got and, Eddie Hearn, and you look at the guys there and go, like, they can fast track him, if you like. But does he need fast tracking? Or does he need that experience? Look, I don't know. Until we see, what Ben's going to come up with, it's going to be an interesting one for sure. But Ben Whittaker has that character and charisma. He could be a big star.
I think he could be the jewel in the crown of any promotional outfit that he works for.
Where would you put him?
What in what mix?
As in with what promoter would most suit him? So I think he's suited to someone like Eddie Hearn. I think that sort of.
Oh, listen, Eddie Hearn will make him a superstar. But the key thing in this is, what is he trying to achieve over the next 12 to 24 months, Ben Whittaker, right? So you've just mentioned there that Boxer have sealed the BBC deal, which I think is massively important for boxing in this country. Let's just remind ourselves that right now there's no boxing on Sky Sports, where that would be the traditional sports home to go and watch your boxing. There's nothing on TNT Sports. Everything is on DAZN, which is a niche channel, with all due respect. If you are on DAZN, you're there purely for boxing. You're not like a Sky Sports customer, for example. You go in there for football and then, boxing's on, and the darts on and all that type of thing, falling into the sport from a casual angle. That doesn't happen with DAZN. You're only going there if you're a hardcore fan. And anything of any decency goes behind a second paywall. So it's a very difficult product at the moment in the UK for people to be able to consume boxing. So from Ben Whittaker's point of view, he's got to think to himself, what do I want to achieve over the next 12 to 24 months? Now, the BBC thing, I think, is really attractive for someone like Ben Whittaker.
I agree.
Because he has the capability of crossing over into the mainstream and transcending the sport. He's a super talent when it comes to boxing. I don't think he's all there just yet. There's still a little bit of work to do, but I think he can get there. From a boxing point of view, with Boxer and the BBC over the next 12 to 24 months, I don't know if that's the right partnership, right? I don't know, because I don't know whether they can attract the right amount of opponent and what have you for the shows that they've got. Especially, I mean, you look at the light heavyweight show that Frank's doing in a few weeks' time with Boatsi and Parker, Zach Parker. This is. Yep. That's a fantastic light heavyweight show. That's where the talent
November
is.
the 1st.
They're the guys that you want to be in the mix with, don't you? And obviously Eddie's got some light heavyweights there as well that you want to be in the mix with on the world stage. But Ben Shalom's got a good relationship, it looks like, with Turki Al Sheikh. They've just done a Riyadh season deal. We don't know the ins and outs of that. I think it's coming out this week with a press release. But I'm sure that there is opportunities for Ben maybe to jump out onto a Riyadh season card and jump out to a Ring magazine card. So there's an opportunity there for him. The big attraction for me regarding Ben Whittaker, because of his personality and the way that I think he can cross over, is they can make shoulder programming on the BBC iPlayer or BBC Two or BBC Three or whatever it is, these channels that they've got available to them with massive platforms for casual eyes. They can make at home with Ben Whittaker. They can make a reality show on Ben Whittaker. They can cross over Ben Whittaker onto MasterChef. They can cross him over onto Dancing with, Strictly Come Dancing on a Saturday night. All these things become available to Ben Whittaker to become a household name. And then in 2 years' time, once he's maybe done all of that, then maybe there's another conversation as to how then we take him to the next level in the world of boxing. Do we then, does he have to come out of that? Does he have to go and work with Eddie Hearn in order to get the bigger opportunities? I don't know the answer when it comes to the boxing side of it. But right now, if I was his manager, I'd be sat there going, mate, this is a massive opportunity. A massive opportunity to go and become a proper household star.
Ben Whittaker has the charisma, has the personality to do all that you said there, whether that's dancing on ice, Strictly Come Dancing, the jungle, wherever
he could rock up on the EastEnders Christmas special or something mad like that, you know what I mean?
Absolutely, he can do all that. He can fight inside the ring. It's all about the development and the progress. And we saw, the fight, the controversial fight that he had with Liam Cameron.
Yep.
The way that he reversed that, the way that he went in there and he done a number, you go, wow, yeah, actually, this kid is the real deal. And if
he's an Olympic silver medalist. The kid can fight.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is amateur boxing, professional boxing. The professional boxing we didn't know after the Cameron draw, where it looked like it was going the wrong way, and he went out the ring, done his ankle, said he couldn't continue. It left that, big question mark over it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Put them doubts to bed last time out. So you look at it and you go, with Ben Shalom doing this new deal with Riyadh season, Turki and Sheikh, that does open opportunity to fight on these other cards, whether that's a Matchroom card, whether that's a Frank Warren card, because Riyadh season will be involved. And if Turkey wants him in against one, like a Zach Parker type fighter, the fight happens. And when that will land, wherever it lands, whether that's in Saudi or whatever. So that has left that door open, which is good. But I think going with the BBC is a huge move for the publicity side of things.
Yeah.
Because people will hear about this kid. Yeah, he's massive on social media anyway, but you get to, your regular, your casual, and I think that is a huge move because, he could be a huge star in the future of the sport.
How far do you think he is away from starting to really talk about challenging at the top table of this division? It's such a hard division for any of the British light heavies. I mean, we've got some fantastic talent, haven't we? But when you look at the men two, I've always said this, that the men two in Beterbiev and Bivol are ahead of supreme talent underneath them. These two are just freaks of nature. They're miles ahead of them. How far is he away? Because you would think that Beterbiev's coming to the end at some point. Maybe one more with Bivol and that's it.
He's nearly 40, so he's got another 12 months in the game. I think that him and Bivol again or whatever. And I think,
but Bivol off the back of that would probably then be searching for the super fights, wouldn't he?
Absolutely.
Maybe across divisions.
Yeah.
So that then maybe opens things up with belts getting fragmented. How far away do you think he is? Do you think he is 2 years away from
24 months? I was just about to say that. 2 years away, and that's where it is because it's not about seeing an opportunity and you go, bam, he can beat this kid. We'll take it.
Yeah.
But these conversations with Frank Warren about Moses Atalma, actually, it's not about whether he can beat Anthony Joshua now or whether he can, because they've got full confidence in he can.
Yeah.
It's about how long he stays there when he does it and whether he's ready to stay there when he does it. Not saying that he's not good enough, but what if he gets someone that takes him into a dogfight and he's not been in round 9 and all of a sudden you find out a bit about his character that none of us knew, only he knows, or he didn't even know until he gets there. They're the ones when you get in those penultimate rounds, 10, 11, 12, we don't know what people are like because it becomes a mental battle as opposed to a physical battle. So we don't know that about Moses, so you have to develop him like that. And I think it can be the same with Ben Whittaker as well, but I think that fight that he had with Liam Cameron, the first fight, he had to go soul-searching himself and asking himself a lot of questions. He come back better, stronger, and you go, well, actually, this kid could be. In another 24 months, I think he'll be the real deal. I really do. I think he has the capabilities of winning a world title for sure.
Do you think he's got the capabilities of being the biggest star in British boxing?
Yeah, because of his personality. He's a huge personality. And I think that, love him or hate him, you'll remember him. I think that...
Well, he makes people feel a certain way, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
And that's important.
For me, really, I think the next superstar of British boxing, which effectively is the star of the sport, of any sport, is Moses Atalma. He's the real deal. And I think that, he's quite quiet and quite reserved. But he's a young kid, 20 years of age, and I think he's going to come out of himself a lot more. His personality, actually, when you get to know him a little bit, he's got a great personality. And once we start seeing that personality, hearing that personality more, and being the king of the heavyweight division, I think that kid's going to be the next superstar. But Ben Whittaker is that guy as well. He's that Nazim Hamid type guy where you love or hate him, you'll remember him, and he can fight.
It's Fight Night on talkSPORT, and the show is absolutely flying. We are streaming on the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to the talkSPORT Boxing YouTube channel. It is the best platform in the world for all boxing and fight sports conversation. Go and get yourself stuck in. I'm Adam Catterall, Spencer Oliver alongside me for this Saturday night shenanigans. And I tell you what, you're on the inside. You're on the inside with this. Now I don't know whether you're going to give the information or not, but I'm going to attack you anyway with it. We have seen two prominent boxing promoters this week have their picture taken with Mr. Turki and Sheikh. I think it was on Tuesday, where Eddie Hearn was out in Saudi Arabia and he had his picture taken with him. And he said, listen, where in the world can you spend 2 hours shooting the breeze with Turki Al Sheikh and change the dynamics, not just of one sport, but of 3 sports? And this kind of leads, obviously, a little bit of fuel to the fire with everything that's happened in the Netflix documentary, where he highlighted, Eddie Hearn this is, that Turki Al Sheikh is interested in maybe investing or purchasing in some way, shape or form Matchroom Sports. So that's one part of the conversation. Second part of the conversation, a little bit later on in the week, another boxing promoter rocks up in Saudi Arabia, Mr. Ben Shalom. And he said, hey, done a great deal here. Me and Turki Al Sheikh, Riyadh season, are investing and getting involved in some shape or form with Boxer and their new deal with the BBC. It's on the second one that I'm picking your brains, mate. Do you know anything about the intricacies of it?
No, because I've not had those conversations with Ben Shalom. I know that there were ongoing talks. We saw Ben out there, and we know that Ben Shalom's done this fantastic deal with the BBC.
Yeah.
You know, people were worried, is he even going to stay in the sport after the Sky deal had gone? Ben went very, very quiet, as he does. And I'm, speaking to him going, come on, mate, we need to speak now, Ben. Don't worry, I've got something coming. I went, yeah, I know, but time is passing, mate. People are worrying, fighters are asking questions. What's going on? You're keeping silent. And then, boom, he's come up with this BBC deal, which I think is fantastic. And now a new deal with Riyadh season, which, sort of puts him on those big shows as well. We know Chris Eubank Jr., who's involved with Boxer, has some form of relationship with Boxer, is on that Riyadh card as well. So, look, yeah, good times, man. Good times. Ben Shalom sort of... the dark horse in the division, shall we say?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what that deal looks like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it sponsorship? Is it investment? What is that? Listen, it's going to come out, I've no doubt, of the next 7 to 14 days, the intricacies of that relationship there, because I think it's a very shrewd move from Turki Al Sheikh to be involved in Boxer, who obviously have a BBC deal. So therefore, that, from a sponsorship point of view, gets to a lot of eyeballs, a lot more eyeballs, with all due respect to what he's probably currently experiencing with the DAZN. Even though I think he's a part owner of the DAZN as well, hasn't he? I think he's invested in the DAZN. I think he's got a certain percentage of that channel too.
Yep.
He's involved in a lot of things in the world of boxing that are moving us in a certain direction. So it will be interesting to see what the intricacies of that is, and it's also going to be interesting to stem back to the former part of that conversation, how far down the line we go with investment, sales of shares of Matchroom, because that feels like it's a real conversation. I mean, from the Netflix documentary, and we can only go off what we've been given from that, but there is a real interest from Saudi Arabia, from PIF, to invest in some way, shape or form in Matchroom. We know that they obviously sold 13% of the business a couple of years back to Pitch, didn't they? And now they're in a negotiation, not just for boxing, but for darts, snooker. I mean, they've got a lot to offer of Matchroom, haven't they?
Matchroom Sport is a huge operation, like you say. Boxing is a very small part of it. Actually, darts,
that's the jewel, isn't it?
That's 2 times as big as boxing as an earner for Matchroom Sport. But darts has grown massively. I know that.
I bet they do that over Christmas with Ali Pally, don't they?
Turkey has grown a huge interest in that. Could you imagine him saying, right, we love the game of darts, let's do something different. He's done it with the snooker, by the way, because he's introduced the gold ball.
The golden ball, yeah.
The golden ball.
What do you reckon he could do in darts? A bow and arrow? Is that how they do it? Like Robin Hood type stuff?
Listen, that's going to be...
That'd be wicked.
That's a great question, actually. What are they going to do with the darts? They will do something, because it is...
They don't need to change darts, man.
No.
They're nailed darts.
No, you're right. But it's all about reinventing, just adding a little twist, a little sprinkle, just a little sprinkle. But yeah, it's interesting because I know Eddie's shown on that Netflix documentary, not just there, but I think he's been talking in recent times about not wanting to be his father and being involved in this business as long as it is. He wants to do other things with his life, and
and that's fair.
So boxing is something he may step away from. We know that Frank Smith, the CEO of the boxing, he could step up, take over, like George Warren with Frank Warren. They are being primed as the younger generation to come through. Ben Shalom is a young guy himself with Boxer, but yeah, it'll be interesting because I do believe something will happen with Turki Al Sheikh and the investment of Matchroom Sport.
Okay,
because I think they have a good relationship. I think they're close. They're obviously having ongoing conversations. And if you look at Matchroom Sport as a whole, what a successful, what an incredible business that Barry Hearn built up. We're, going way back when he started up with Steve Davis.
It's one of the great British success stories, mate.
It really is, mate. Started up with Steve Davis, getting into snooker and, managing Steve.
Mate, it's wild.
Growing it from there.
It's wild. If you think of the sports that they've made massive, niche, snooker, darts, and obviously boxing. I mean, I said boxing being niche. It kind of is, but it's the second most popular sport, I would say, in the country.
Adam, rewind quickly to the darts. Darts was dead and buried in the water, my friend.
Yeah.
It was. Now look at what they have done with it, how they've reinvented it. You go, Barry Hearn, Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Sport. I have to salute you because, they're like gold dust.
They're doing it with pool as well now, by the way.
Absolutely.
Nine ball billiards.
We've got Andy Goldstein. He was out there not so long ago, wasn't he? He's got himself in the mix.
I know.
He's muscled his way in there. Incredible.
It is. So it is going to be interesting to see how these relationships do play out. And I've no doubt the information will come our way over the next 7 to 14 days. How do you think that affects everything from what we were speaking about earlier on? Obviously, there's a bigger plan. It just feels, at the moment, it feels like people are putting chess pieces on a board in place. That's what it feels like to me. Obviously, Turkey's got his Ring magazine thing. He's doing a partnership with Dana White and Zuffa Boxing over in the States. He's now talking to Eddie Hearn about purchasing Matchroom. Obviously, he's got a relationship in some way, shape or form with Frank. He's now talking about investment with Ben Shalom. It feels like just pieces are being put into place before something big, really big happens.
Don't forget about the ongoing conversations with Netflix as well, which captures another, another generation, of a younger generation. So, it's very interesting, isn't it? Because you talk to Turkey, and we talked to him many years ago, and he's talking about wanting to change the sport, not just the belts, not just the governing bodies and the way that it's run, the broken sport that it is. But just imagine, and as crazy as this seems, he's talking to all these people about investing in whatever, and he cleans up and he does. Dana White is the key to all this, by the way, because I think that they will change the model through that, and it may take a bit of time. We're talking about these governing bodies and the Ali Act and all of that, and with all the promoters that are involved. But if they invest enough in each company, including the TV companies, I know DAZN's a part of them now.
Yeah.
Netflix is now, they're going, hold a minute, that's a nice little audience there. Captures a different generation, a different audience. You go, the long-term goal, which happens very quick, by the way, with Saudi Arabia and Riyadh season and Turkey Al Sheikh, their long-term goal is like a 3-year period. Like our long-term goal, you go, well, in 10 years,
yeah.
Totally different because they have the money to do that. You could find it all under one umbrella, and we could be having huge change. Change is good. I'm not one of those stuck in the mud type guys. It's just, it's going to be interesting. It's a huge job, but if anyone can do it, they can.
Watch this space.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.